Welcome to the TCAD 10-minute take. We are back again. I know we are sporadically here, but movies are sporadically here. So
Yeah.
it is I, your host, Sheree L. Stewart, and with me, as always, is my intrepid co-host, Don, the Essential Worker Chambers.
Yes.
And today we are talking about Bill and Ted Face the Music. But before we get started, please click that subscribe button, click that bell so you get all the 10-minute takes as soon as they drop. And as always, I will let Mr. Chambers go first. And yeah.
Okay. Bill and Ted's Face the Music. Okay. Directed by Dean Parasat. And of course, it is starring Keanu Reeves and it's Alex Winter, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, this is going to pick up after the previous two Bill and Ted movies where Bill and Ted still have to create that one song that's going to save the world, unite the world, that whole shebang. I will say this. I liked the first Bill and Ted because it was funny, goofy. It's a sweet kind of a movie. I mean, the characters are incredibly innocent. The second Bill and Ted obviously felt like a bit of a cash grab at the time. They were surprised at how successful it was and how well it did, so they sort of rushed that out. It really wasn't necessary. Like, you could have skipped the second one and possibly gone from that first one to this one, if they wanted to wait this long. But it was okay. I will say this one is... So for this one, Bill and Ted are married to those princesses that they met in the second movie, I believe, or it was the first one. The first one, I think it was. And now they have kids. They have daughters. And what I thought was a little bit lazy on their parts is like Ted's daughter, her name is Thea, and Bill's daughter's name is Billy. And the daughters act like their mannerisms are exactly like their father's, as if we needed more of that to know whose kid is whose. Never mind the fact that, the Keanu Reeves' daughter has the same black hair, the same weird shaggy look, and and Bill's
their names are opposite. They name their kids after each other.
They did, and the kids
not themselves, like their friends.
And the kids look like themselves, like each one. It's the craziest thing. It's like, I understand that's your daughter. I get it. I totally get it. Okay, never mind that. So then the story about how they're still trying to create this song and they decide to go back in time to steal it from themselves. Okay, never mind the story. I was just kind of watching to see, is this sort of going to remind me of the first one, be kind of funny and have maybe just be like a cute, sentimental kind of a movie. It tries to hit on points. I actually thought there was a second earlier on. It was maybe going to focus on like maybe having Bill and Ted kind of grow up and sort of grow out of this thing and deal with their wives. And for a second, I thought it might actually get a little deep and maybe have some moments there. But it touches on it and then it sort of fades away, as it goes into this weird kookiness of finding, again, musical people in the past, and then death shows up, which is cool. And then they have to play the song that unites the world, but it's really the daughters that are going to do it. And yeah, again, you
spoilers.
Okay, if you want to call them spoilers, I'm like, come on. It's you can sort of see this coming like 10 minutes in. I mean, the daughters like musical savants and how much they know. So immediately you're like, oh, this is going to be about them. So I'm watching. A couple parts made me laugh. It had moments where I thought it was going to get kind of sweet, but it sort of let it pass. Is this movie necessary? No. Did I enjoy it? It was cool to see, Keanu and Alex as those characters, but there's nothing to this movie. This is just. Uh, I mean, I kind of feel bad, you know, but because I like Keanu Reeves. I'm not saying this is a garbage, god awful movie, but it's. I mean, for those of us who were there and saw the original, I don't think it's going to do anything for us. I don't know for this new generation if it's going to make them want to watch the original. Hopefully it does, so they'll see a much better movie. But yeah, I
Where do you put it on our scale?
on our scale is this has to come on like cable or Redbox. Going to the theaters, no. It's not worth the ticket. It's especially now when you got social distance and maybe you'll get in if they hit capacity. I'm not going through all that for this movie. Absolutely not. If I had to give it a number score, I'm giving like a 5, and that's only for the nostalgia part of it. That's it. And again, it had a couple moments that made me chuckle, but everything else was just. I'm just watching like, is this movie almost over? Okay, all right. Yeah. That's the best I can do. I'm sorry. I am really sorry.
Okay, well, that's fine. I mean, that's your prerogative. I'm a huge Bill and Ted fan. I don't even know. I should have switched my posters around. Like, I have another Bill and Ted poster, like, on this wall. I should have put it over there, just for this episode. But, and I'm a huge Keanu Reeves fan, obviously.
Yep, same here.
And I think this movie there were a couple of things that bothered me. One, that always bothered me. Systemic in Hollywood bothers me. The two actresses that they got to play the princesses, Jayma Mays and Erin Hayes, were like 10 years younger than the original princess. And that just bothered me because it bothered me. Like, the original princesses were the same age as Bill and Ted. And so
why didn't they just use them?
Either just use them or use women that are actresses that are the same age as Alex Winter and Keanu Reeves.
Right.
But they went the typical Hollywood route and got actresses that are like 10 years younger than them.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. The actresses who played the daughters I thought they were really good. Like, they were perfectly spot on in like their mannerisms and the way they acted, and they didn't overwhelm the movie. Like, the movie wasn't about them. They were just like the side plot, and then Keanu and Alex Winter were going through their shenanigans of traveling through time. It felt like a real, like maybe like a real Gen X kind of movie of squandered potential and coming to terms with that. And, and I think you're right. Like, they did touch on some things where they were almost ready to like grow up and, deal with their wives and deal with their families. And I think that's kind of where they led you to believe, like, with the ending, that's what ultimately came of that was, my life wasn't so bad, and, I did make the world a little bit better, but even though it's not like this grand thing that I was promised and that I thought I was going to be, it's still okay. And it definitely felt like a huge Gen X movie, where in a way that I think millennials aren't going to get so much, because anybody younger than Gen X, like, there is no thing that you're supposed to be. It's just kind of wide open, and you are what you are. It is what it is, and that's just life. And I think that's a little bit sad for millennials and kids younger than us, but it's also kind of good, because I feel like people these days, this is totally off topic. I'm gonna stop. But I do feel like people who are Gen Xers and Boomers, and like, they have like this idealized version of what their lives should have been, and that's where all this like rage is coming from, of their squandered potential, or they see people getting things that they were promised, like this piece of the pie that they should have had, and they're just like enraged by it. And kids younger than us are not, they know that that's just not promised. So it's like you get what you get, and like you make the world a better place, and it's not like somebody's taking your spot, somebody's taking your piece of the pie, like somebody's taking something that you were promised and you should have had in your unfulfilled destiny or whatever the fuck. But that's neither here nor there, because we're talking about Bill and Ted. And and this movie is really not that deep.
No, it's not.
It's a good time. It's fun. It's funny-ish. And it's more funny than not funny, but it's not like heavy belly laugh funny. It's just like nostalgic chuckles funny. And I think that it's definitely a time's up. A wait for streaming movie. When it like I watched it on Amazon Prime, and you know what, I paid the 2 movie tickets worth price, but I watched it with it would have been $12 a ticket. In Los Angeles, it would have been like $18 a ticket.
Yeah.
So it was worth that at least. So when it comes into Redbox or it hits Netflix or wherever it goes, it's definitely worth a Saturday afternoon for sure. It's worth a Wednesday night at home with the kids hanging out watching a dumb movie. Like it's definitely worth a family night movie for sure. It's not worth going all out to like rush out to face down COVID to see it in a movie theater, but it's certainly worth coming home. You want to block out the news and watch something dumb.
Sure.
And watch Keanu Reeves have some fun.
I would agree with you on that.
And it's a good time. So, yeah. That's where we are with Bill and Ted. Social commentary aside.
Yeah, I would, you brought up a good point. I think, if you got like some young kids, you can sit them down. It's a goofy little movie.
Yeah.
Everybody will enjoy it.
Yeah.
Or they'll enjoy it and get through it. And yeah, that's true. Yeah.
It's a good time.
It's a good time.
All right.
Yeah. What else is a good time? TCATnetwork.com. That's always a good time, because that's where we have links to all of our 10-minute takes, to all of our podcast episodes, as well as to Good Morning Antioch and the reading. It is all right there. So make sure you bookmark that website at TCATnetwork.com, as well as you're here on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit the bell for more notifications. And, so next time when we do another one, you'll know, and you'll come rushing right into to know if you're going to pay your good money and risk COVID nowadays and go out and see it. Because I think the next one is going to be Tenet. I'm looking at that for, say, either Saturday or Sunday to see if one of the theaters around me is open.
I don't know if I'm going in the theater, Don. I don't know, man.
I'm going to give that a shot. I'm going to let you know how it is, but I'm going to give that a shot.
I have asthma, and there's fires.
That's true. I'm looking out my window. There's a hue of orange out there.
Yeah, it's like yellow down here. It looks like it's about to be a hurricane.
It's a little crazy.
John David Washington might have to wait for Ready Redbox.
He might have to, but listen, but you at home won't know unless you subscribe and hit the notification. So definitely do that. So as you can see now, I got my dog who wants to be in it. But do that. And so until next time, see ya.